In today's video, we're going to be taking a standard bright fire lighter and stage 1 tuning it for a bigger flame. So this is a type of performance that you can expect to see from a standard bright fire lighter, fully adjusted and fully gassed. And you can see that flame. It's big, but guys, it's not big enough. What you need is a fire breathing monster like this, guys. Now that's what I call a flame. So stay tuned because I'm going to show you how to achieve this. And also I'm going to be talking about some upcoming reviews on the channel featuring Zeus products. And I'm sure it must be named after the actual sky god of thunder, the ancient Greek himself, Zeus. Because the good things about this particular company, Zeus, is 1, they're a British based company. 2, there's over 300 products in their pyrotechnics lineup, from small to professional. And number 3, guys, look at the size of those 3-inch ball shell rockets. They look to be good quality indeed. But let's get back to tuning our lighter. So how do you go from this to this? Guys, let's get started. And it's important to note that everything flammable has been removed out of this room before this procedure has been started, just for the snowflakes. Okay, so tool wise, what you need are some long nose pliers or some surgery tweezers that I have, because these things are actually really accurate and very precise. CNC machine to a micron in terms of accuracy, so these things are extremely accurate. Also a 2 to 2.5 mil drill bit and a posi driver screwdriver. So let's get started. This is a standard lighter and you can see the flame's big, but guys, it's not big enough, is it? What you want is something like this. So let me show you how. So the first thing to do is take your posi screwdriver, and before you do any work or carry out any work on your lighter, stop and think, is it worth sacrificing your lighter? Because things can go wrong, and in my opinion, please don't try this at home. This video is purely for experimental reasons only, and I'm doing this so you don't have to. Guys, parental guidance. So what we do is we make sure that our lighter is actually degassed and there's no gas in the chamber whatsoever. Then what we do is we want to take these 2 bottom screws out, and I'm going to try and do this as quickly as possible without dropping them. So there's 2 screws here that we need to take out, and this is specifically on this lighter, by the way. I may do another video on tuning the scam lighter, if you know what I mean. But just drop it in the requests if you want to see that one. However, today we're talking about this lighter. Now the next thing to do is to just move the safety lock to the locked position, and what you'll find is it'll start to come loose. Now the right side, like that, and it will click when you get to halfway, and then the other side actually totally pulls off, and you have to be careful when doing this not to break it and not to break the skin. But as you can see, because I put it in the lock position, this has actually came off and revealed a screw. Don't touch that screw, and in actual fact proceed to remove the skin. So it looks like this. Now this is important to note. You can see the inner workings of the actual one-way valve, the gas delivery tube and the 2-way hinge. However, guys, don't just start ripping things apart before you've studied the anatomy of anything. Now in our case, we only want to drill this one-way valve, so all we need to do is take these 2 specific screws out, and I'm going to try and get this close to the camera so you can see what I'm doing here. So there's 1 screw from this side, and that's the gas delivery tube side. Now the one-way valve in this particular lighter is actually very good quality. Now, in my opinion, it's actually quite robust in terms of one-way valves. Now, this is important. What we're going to be able to do now we've loosened one side, is swing it to the left. Now, this is critical, because if this tube is severed or split in any way, shape or fashion, you'll end up with a leak, and they are very difficult to change. However, in this instance, what you want to do is create a 15mm gap, I would say, with your thumb and fourth finger, just to hold it steady as we take off the spring that holds the gas delivery tube on and compresses it against the hinged gas release mechanism. Spring here, and the tube will naturally fall off the gas delivery tube. Now, that piece of solder you can see there is actually the sparker, but that's okay because you can actually put that back in. So now we're in a situation where the valve, the one-way valve, you can see that there, can be drilled out, and I would say right now it's about 1mm in terms of the width of the standard hole for the gas delivery, and we can drill this out up to about 2.5, which is what I'd done with the fire-breathing monster that created the stage 1 tuned bright fire lighter. So this is what we're going to be drilling out. I've got my drill bit here, and I'll just do that off camera because it's extremely tricky to do. But my advice is when you do drill this out, is to drill it on the side, and you can gently hold this in a vise, in a towel, or some rubber to protect the casing, and drill this out at the side. Now, the reason is because the last thing you want to do is have all the swarf travel down inside the gas chamber, and it can be cleaned out by just removing this valve here. So it's not a total disaster, but my experience is just to drill it on the side so the swarf can be removed as you drill it. So this is all drilled out now, and we've increased the bore size of the one-way valve. Now, you could do a stage 2 and actually drill this tube out here that kind of funnels the gas in, but for me, I've already done this actually, and it actually makes the flame thicker instead of longer, because if you can imagine that this funnels all the gas into a very small area, and then it is excelled out of this tube at a higher rate than it would be if the hole was thicker. So my advice is you can drill this, but ultimately it just makes the flame thicker, but not necessarily longer. So I've left mine standard. Now it's time to just put the tube back on and the spring back on top. I'm not sure if you can see that there, but let me just try and get a bit closer. So I'm not sure if you can see this there, but I've just replaced the spring back on to the one-way valve, and we're good to go. Now, a lot of people will probably say in the comments, well, you could have just took the valve out, right? Well, yes, you can, but it's actually extremely tricky to do without damaging the actual plastic thread that houses the one-way valve. So after a lot of attempts, this and how I actually do it. So I'm just putting the 2 screws back in that we've taken out, and something you may notice is the 2 screws that I've taken out from the bottom in the beginning to get the skin off and the handle, they're actually shorter than the ones that come out of the quick release gas chamber side. So just to take note of that, and then it's a case of just sliding this back together and clipping this back on into its original place. So guys, there we go. All that's left to do is to put the screws in the bottom here. Very small screws. And guys, and this is what you end up with. Guys, I think you'll agree it's a pretty dramatic transformation in terms of size of the flame from the standard to the modified flame. So guys, there we go. And you can see it's almost turning purple there. Well, it is actually a bit like argon gas or neon gas as it's known in the scientific world, and that's because it's so compressed. But this is extremely easy to do, but would I do it if I was you? Well, I wouldn't recommend it. 1, you could hurt yourself. 2, you could break your lighter. And 3, you don't really need to. The standard flame on these jet flame lighters is more than big enough and is more than strong enough to light any combustible material or any material with a high flash point. And it's certainly too powerful for lighting fireworks, because you could actually end up with a fuse bypass, which is extremely dangerous, as you may have seen in some of my older videos. So please, if you do use these, turn the flame down. And you can see that in this experimental video, you can see it doesn't take a rocket scientist to take one of these to stage 1 level. And speaking of rockets, guys, look at these. I'm going to be reviewing these on the channel and some more pyrotechnics. Stay tuned to the channel, and of course hit that notifications bell, subscribe, thumbs up. Thanks to all the subscribers. Thanks for all your support. If you've learnt anything here today, you like pyrotechnics, you like basic science experiments, and just watching a guy generally prattling about, guys, subscribe, give me a thumbs up. I'll see you in another video. Thank you for watching.